what are the things that you're doing that is working to help you get listings at this moment?
Yeah, it's no secret sauce. It's just waking up, prospecting, making sure you're staying consistent. Something that helped me along the way was just, even when times it doesn't feel like you're making any progress, just keep going because your skill sets build during that time. So it's literally just what's working for me is just time in, time out, just keep going every single day.
Sweet. And we're going to unpack all of that and what that means and what all that looks like. Just so that the audience can get an idea, like you had a pretty good month last month. Is that right? Is that fair?
I did. I
Yeah. So
did.
do you have those numbers in front of you that you could share real quick?
I made about $25,000 last month,
Not
ballpark.
bad.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of money. Is that the most money you've ever made in 1 month?
Yeah, so this is like really my first year, like whole year of tracking my numbers, cold calling. I joined the program back in August of last year, so around this time, so about a year in the program. Um, and I'm going to be well over six figures by the end of this year.
Dude, that's huge. That's massive. So let's dive into that. I mean, because there's probably 90% of agents in their first year that won't crack six figures. I mean, hell, 71% of agents won't sell one house, let alone six figures. So the
Yeah,
audience wants to know, how in the world are you doing this? So you mentioned prospecting and cold calling. Most people have already shut their ears and they say, I don't want to hear that. I'm just kidding. So you actually pick up the phone and call people. Is that right?
correct.
So before we talk about that, and it's proven to pay you pretty dang good, was there anything that you tried before direct outbound prospecting that didn't work that it's worth mentioning?
Um, Not really. I come from wholesaling. So before I got my license, I came from wholesaling, and what that looked like was it's more SMS outbound and all these things. And what initially got my license in the first place was a lot of these wholesale deals I worked on. I always came up a little short, so that I'm getting my license, and then I came across you, and then I really just started doing cold call outbound. So I do have a little bit of experience in other marketing venues, but when it comes to like listing homes, expireds, it's straight outbound. There's really nothing much more.
So how did you protect yourself from all the voices in the industry that prey on new realtors that don't know any better, that want to have you do everything but pick up the phone because they want you to believe that this is not a sales business, this is not a sales industry. You could just, call your friends and family and post on social media and you can live the good life. Like, how did you protect yourself from that?
So honestly, when I first started, because my skills were not there, I fell victim to some of those shiny objects, and I was like, maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe this isn't for me. What I didn't realize was over time you get better. So I really didn't start seeing crazy results until March of this year. That's when I started consistently taking listings, but 2024 to like early 2025, there's no results. I may have got one or two listings and I fell victim to some of those shiny objects, but I just kept going. And what you don't realize when you're in the thick of it that your skills are developing. Like you say all the time, the learning's in the doing. When you're in it, it's hard to believe that, but you just got to just keep going, and those skill sets evolve. And when those skill sets get there, I mean, the, you know, the learning's in the doing. The results come.
Yeah, so that's a really, really good point that you bring up. There are people, let me just ask the live audience that's watching this, how many people right now are in this mindset or place of deception, in that you're second guessing everything? You don't know, if this is going to work for you. You're head down without getting the results so far. Like, just raise your human hand so I can see any of you that are there, kind of. Not many, which is good. So this is super normal. Just speak to how you're able to have blind faith and push through, which I'll give you guys a little secret. It's why I do these interviews every week, is to show you proof that if you continue to do the work every single day, great things can happen. That's why I started this show. And so for everybody who's not there yet, hopefully this helps with the blind faith. But for you, Peyton, specifically, what was it that you kept saying, or what was a belief that you were hanging on that said, if I keep going, this thing can work for me too, like it has for thousands of others? And if you're watching this video thinking to yourself, man, how is this agent getting these types of results? I can tell you it's not luck. It's simply a system. And if you want that same system to implement in your own business, simply click the link in the description to see exactly how it works.
I think it's just like one thing that your program brought me was just community. Just seeing people do it every single day, being in Discord servers with like Austin Rankin, with John Fortes, and all these people. Just seeing the people do the results like they're doing it. Not only that, you're learning what they're saying, you see the people that their skill sets are developed, which helps expedite, you learning. It's just surrounding yourself with the right people will just make it so much easier and give you that faith, even though when like you're not seeing the results right away.
So, environment. In other words,
Yeah.
environment. I mean, time and time again, every week, if you guys in the live audience are not yet in a accountability, role play environment, if you're not in one of those groups, that's probably the number one takeaway that you have to do today. Would you agree with that, Peyton? Like, that would probably be the thing, to partner up with people inside of this community that are all like-minded, learning the exact same skills, tactics, and strategies, but doing it together makes it much more viable than trying to do it and go it alone. Would you agree?
Oh, 100%. Like, I don't think I would have made this far. Like I said, I was falling off course at the beginning. And if I didn't surround myself with the right people, and honestly, your prospecting games, just helped me be able to get around the right group of people.
That's right. So that's the tactic. That's the how, right? So if someone's new to the program, it's like, well, how do I meet these people? It's like, well, just join the prospecting games and you get to meet a whole bunch of people and you get to find out the reals from the fakes. And that's how you get into some of these accountability groups. All right. So let's break down your business. So when you talk about prospecting, first off, what lead sources are you focused on? Is it mainly expires? Or are you doing anything else?
It's hardcore expireds. FISBOs for me, I've tried FISBOs for a long time. I didn't find too much success. And that may be me just being like, I didn't find too much success. I need to go at it harder. But yeah, hardcore expireds. I do about an hour circle a day, so I'm building my pipeline. But just really just purely expireds.
Cool. And so give us an idea of, and we're going to kind of walk through your average day or week, but like how much prospecting are you doing? Like how many hours do you put into this every day?
So on Mondays, that's really my prospecting day because I looked at my like results. I really don't have appointments on Monday. So I have a 3 hour, unless I set a super hot appointment in the afternoon I can't pass up. So I prospect from 8 to 11 every single day, 3 hours. That's locked in. Depending if I have an appointment in the afternoon, that's depending if I'm prospecting more. But if I don't, I'm prospecting until I get an appointment
On Mondays or every day?
on Monday.
On
Well,
Mondays. On
every day, really.
Mondays.
If I don't have an appointment, I'm dialing that afternoon.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So that makes a lot of sense. And so how many people do you typically talk to every day?
On a normal day when I don't have a point or when I do have appointments, so like that first 3 hours, I'm averaging about 10 contacts an hour
Oh, that's great.
around that.
So
Yeah.
you're doing 25 to 30 contacts a day.
Yeah.
Awesome. So when we look at the tactical part of that, the questions are always, okay, well, where are you getting the data? Where do you get the
Oh,
data?
my plus.
My plus leads. Okay, great. And then what are you using to contact these people? Do you use a dialer? Do you hand dial? How does that work?
Mojo dialer.
You're using Mojo. So your tech stack is my plus leads, and you're connecting that to Mojo. And then anything that you can share with the audience to increase contact rate, because as you know, expired's bottom of funnel leads, they convert the fastest, but they're also the hardest to get on the phone. What have you done to increase contact rate such that you're having 10 conversations for every 1 hour of prospecting?
I think that just comes back to your skill sets, being able to like when you say red gumball, blue gumball, I'm spending my time on the phone with the right person that I know this person's going to do business with me. Once I qualify and we're disqualifying enough that okay, this is I don't want to say a waste of time, but like there's nothing there. I know to get off the phone right away. So it just comes with skill set as well, just being able to decipher who's a lead and who's not, what's an opportunity and what's not.
Yeah, makes a ton of sense. And so you're having, I mean, part of the reason why you're winning is, to be fair, is you're having 600 conversations per month with homeowners who primarily have their hand in the sky saying, I have to sell my home. So of those 600 conversations, I know we talked about it a little bit as far as your production last month, but what is a typical day, week, or month look like in terms of production? How many leads are you getting per month? And how many appointments do you typically get? Do you know what that all kind of looks like off the top of your head?
So
I know
I'm
you
going
track
on
your numbers.
about, I do track my numbers. I don't have them in front of me right now, but I can give a rough estimate. I go on about 2 high quality appointments a week, I want to say. My
That's great.
leads, they're like, again, that's just average. So
Yeah.
like averages out. There's some weeks, I'm not going to say right now that I go in 2 appointments every single week. There's
Yeah.
weeks
Sometimes it's
where,
1, sometimes it's 0, sometimes it's 3,
yeah,
sometimes it's 5, and then you don't go on for 2 weeks. Yeah.
yeah. And I just want to say that because I don't want people to kick themselves when they're down if they had a really awesome week and like, what am I doing different? That just comes with it.
Yeah.
Right. So, um, I say about average 2 appointments a week. I'm just starting to be on a consistent base of taking at least a listing every 2 weeks. I'm
It's
trying to get it
great.
down to a listing a week. But that's what, like, when I say learning to do, I'm still learning on getting better from Met to close. That's my biggest process right now. That's my biggest hard point. But as I'm getting on more appointments, I'm getting better at closing and closing. I can see the numbers just getting better as time goes by.
Yeah. And we're going to break that down in just a second. So we'll come right back to that. So let's just talk about the call for a second.
Mhm.
There's many different skills and tactics and things that I've taught you when it comes to having these conversations over the phone. What do you feel like? What sales or prospecting technique while selling over the telephone have you learned that's helped you to have better conversations with expired listings?
Man, when you did the domino training back in April, with that, I forget his name, the British guy,
Yeah,
that training, like my appointment set just skyrocketed through the roof. So if you look at my first quarter to my second quarter, because that was around April, it's night and day. Just like getting off the scripts, knowing it's a process through the dominoes. Um, it's just really just like changed my whole like prospecting approach, if that makes
can you
sense.
share with the audience like how you understand the domino system and like what you're trying to do at each point of the call? So if someone's watching or listening to this who doesn't understand what you mean by the domino system, right?
Yeah,
Can you explain what you mean by that and what's happening in the conversation and why it's been so effective for you?
of course. So with each domino, there's obviously like a set of questions, which doing a script and hearing people how they ask questions, how they ask for motivation, how they ask for timeline, that just as your skill set gets better, you can develop those type of questions and know when to ask them. So when I'm going through a cold call or when I'm calling somebody, um, it's just like the exact same questions you're asking, like what that you teaches us, like that reverse
Presumptive
ask questions
question.
that you
Yeah.
came for now.
Mhm.
Yeah, but and then you just broke it up into like the main objections, so you get in front of the objections and ask for the appointment,
So
right?
essentially, what you've learned to do, right? And I don't want to put words in your mouth, but the way that I explain it is what you've learned to do is exactly what you just said, which is traditional sales methodology teaches you to respond to objections, which is very difficult. What you've learned to do is to get in front of every objection by serving it to the prospect and allowing the prospect to handle the objections. And that's what's been the big difference for you as far as setting so many appointments, getting so many more leads. Is that right?
That's right on.
Yeah, that's great. That's amazing. Um, I always, and if you're comfortable doing this, great. If not, that's fine too. I would love to hear kind of what it sounds like when you do find somebody who has clear motivation that wants to do something. They've got clear timelines. You find out they don't have an agent that they are obligated to work with, and how you go about getting invited to come to their home for an appointment. I would love to hear kind of what that conversation would sound like if you're open to a role play. You guys want to hear him role
Yeah,
play?
so
There's one person in the live audience that wants to hear. I'm just kidding. They all want to hear you role play. All right. So yeah, what does that sound like? So I tell you, you and I are having a great conversation. You're going through the dominoes framework. You find out that I live in Michigan now, but my goal is to is to get down to Florida because I am now retired and I want to move closer to family. So you find all of that out through a series of strategic questions that you've learned. What happens next where you try to get that appointment?
Yeah. So Brandon, do you mind if I just make a recommendation?
Sure. Yeah. No, that'd be great.
Yeah. And obviously, Brandon, if I'm about to ask you if it doesn't make sense, I'm sure you'll just tell me, right?
Absolutely, I will.
Yeah. So Brandon, I'm 100% confident that your home should have sold the first time around. So, I mean, let's just pretend real quick, Brandon, that me and you were to get together and I were to show you a plan that was different than anything you've ever seen before. And you truly believed that I could help you get this property sold. And not only that, help you make that move to Florida for retirement. I mean, Brandon, just let me know, is there any downside in just having that conversation?
No.
Because, I mean, let's face it, Brandon, you're not going to be doing anything anyways unless it makes absolute sense, right?
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
Yeah. So I guess when would you think it makes the most sense for us to get together?
Awesome. It's a great job, dude. Awesome. And that's what's helping you get on 2 high quality appointments a week. So that's really good. Okay. So let's transition out of prospecting. Let's get into lead follow up. So I know you're focused on bottom of funnel business with expireds, and it's hard to build a pipeline with expireds because the urgency is now. You got to convert them now. But what role has lead follow up played for you in your ability to set more appointments?
Yeah, so as you go on, you will realize how important follow-up is. We just got done talking about follow-up in here for a little bit. Um, as you go on, and those, I don't want to say like bottom of the fruit people that are easy to grab, go away. And as you start to build your pipeline, you're gonna realize like about I would say like almost 60 to 70% of my appointments come off the second or third call after having a quality conversation with them.
What percent did you say?
About 60 to 70 at this point.
Makes total sense. Okay, keep going. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I do all the follow-up process that you teach us, thank you card. Even if it's a super hot lead, I'm still sending thank you cards. Something that I learned from Sam Parks from an old in here, or it was a long time ago. He starts sending crumble cookie when he sets an appointment to make sure that set to met is great. Or if it's a really good conversation and I'm like, okay, this person's on the edge, how can I build more trust? I'm really utilizing the crumble cookie. I'm sending like 3 or 4 crumble cookies a week, which is about $20 for delivery, depending on where you're at. So,
Yeah.
um, I've started leveraging things like that, and that's why this goes to everything. Just like there's so much to absorb, and there's so much things to pick apart and add to your business. It's just there's so many things to just do.
Yeah, and you try to just do one thing at a time because it's overwhelming, right? And so what we're
Yeah.
walking people through in this conversation, if people are following along, is essentially this entire sales funnel, right? We talked about who are we going to prospect? We talked about how we're going to prospect them. We talked about what we're going to say when we do prospect them. Then they get into your funnel, right? Now we're talking about lead follow up. We're talking about setting appointments. So let's go to the next step in that sales process and talk about what happens when you do set an appointment such that your appointment set to met ratio is high as possible. You talked about sending the crumble cookie, but I want to pick up from, so you just set an appointment with me and we determined that we're going to meet, Thursday at 5 o'clock. We hang up the phone. What's going to happen in your process so that when Thursday comes, the likelihood for us to actually have that meeting is as high as possible? And before you answer that, what is your appointment set to met ratio out of curiosity?
I want to say it's hard to tell because it kind of lopsided. I'm getting a lot better towards the end of this year because as I learn things,
Yeah.
I
You're
want to
probably
say for the
forcing a lot
past.
less appointments too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I set a ton of appointments that I just don't go on
Yeah.
because it just doesn't make sense. It's not worth my time. I'd rather prospect and waste my time at an appointment. So I want to say when I get a really quality appointment or when I get somebody that's like actually worth my time that um I will get the business. I like saying that.
Yeah.
But I want to say it's about 60 to 70% set to met
It's great. Okay. Awesome. So
in
we
that
hang up the
ballpark.
phone. Walk us through your process.
So I hang up the phone, send my resume, pre-listing packet through the email. I send a text on my direct cell phone. I know I send a text message and I send a voice memo because with voice memos, when they open it, that's how you know they read the message. So as soon as they open that voice memo, you can know if they're actually seeing it. Contact card in the voice memo, I say, hey, thank you for this opportunity for me to be able to sell your home. Look forward to meeting you on XY date. Send my contact card, crumble cookie to get sent. Um, I'm trying to think of anything else right off the top of my head, but that's pretty much the main
Do
stuff.
you call them or text them or anything between, let's
Yes.
just say you said it on Tuesday, you got an appointment on Thursday. Is there any more communication that happens?
Yeah, so I call them on Wednesday and I kind of run them through some hey, Brandon, I'm super excited for our appointment tomorrow on Thursday at 2:30. I just have some really important questions to help me get a better understanding of what's going on. The first question I ask is like, hey, Brandon, so after we have our conversation, let's say you truly believe I can get your home sold. Are you looking to, put me right to work right away or something along those lines?
Yep.
And I run through these questions, ask them how much they owe. This is where I ask the mortgage question. It just helps
So
me like
this,
identify.
yeah. So this is where you're essentially qualifying the appointment to determine whether or not you're qualifying the appointment to determine the quality of the appointment. Fair?
Exactly right.
Yeah. So you always do that phone call. It sounds like one day before the appointment. Is that right?
Correct. Or
Do you
day
do
of,
that every
depending.
time?
I do that about 90% of the time at this point.
Awesome. And if they don't answer, what do you do? So let's just say you try to do your qualifying questionnaire a day before the appointment. You can't get them on the phone. Do you try to text them? Do you leave them a voicemail? Do you attempt them a few different times? What do you do?
Yeah, so I send a text. And then I give them a call about an hour later if I still don't have a response. And they don't pick up that call. I wait another hour and I call them from a burner number because then I feel like they're trying to ignore me. So I
Got
want
it.
to get down to the bottom of it. So I call them on a burner number and be like, hey, it's Peyton Jones. I don't know if my calls are going through. I'm excited for me. And I still act like I kind of act oblivious almost.
Yeah.
But I have them on the phone now, I have them voice to voice. I'm telling them I'm excited for the appointment tomorrow. I hardly ever get pushback on it. I hardly get any like, oh, why you call me from a different number? I just take it from there.
Yeah. Awesome. And then if you do, when in the text message, is it just something like, hey, it's Peyton. Just had a couple of questions so I can prep for our appointment tomorrow. Let me know when you're free to jump on a quick call, something like that.
Exactly along those lines, yeah.
All right, cool. All right, so now it's appointment time. So it's Thursday at 4:00. You're showing up. Walk us through what is it that you're bringing with you to the appointment? Let's start with that.
So I'm bringing my folder, which has it's a lot of your presentation. As you go on, you will know what works and what doesn't work from you. I still use everything, all the fundamentals that you show. I just kind of present it just a little bit differently.
Sure.
That's more comfortable for me because it's just, I don't know.
Yeah,
It's just
everyone's
how I
different,
do
right?
it.
Exactly right.
Yeah. So I bring a lockbox. I bring listing agreements, and what I do is right when I walk in the door, I'm like, "Hey, Brandon, super excited for having me over. I want to take a look through the house, and I typically ask to walk through the home alone, just so I can see the eyes through the buyer, because I don't want the person adding value to the home, like, oh, there's this, that, this, that. I'm looking at through the eyes of the buyer, so I ask to walk through the home alone. I'll set all my stuff on the kitchen counter, and I'll meet them there. And what I do is I set the lockbox up, I put the listing agreement, which it sounds a bit of aggressive, but this is kind of helping me close more deals at this
Sure.
point, right?
Yeah.
So I set them on the table, and then and this is what I'm learning. This is some of the stuff I'm just learning this past month from joining this group, and
Yeah.
I can just see the difference in just doing this. So I said that, walk through the home, and then I just go through a normal listing and presentation from there.
Awesome. That's great. And like the call, I'm curious. There's so much to that conversation at a listing appointment. I mean, there's so much nuance. It would take us probably a couple days to get through it if you and I were to
Yeah.
just talk through it. But is there maybe one or two things that specifically you could share with the audience from a technique or tactical perspective that helps you to have a much more powerful and impactful conversation such that the seller says to themselves, wow, Peyton, this is our guy. I mean, is it the way that you set it up? Is it your pricing presentation? Is it the way you present your value proposition? I mean, walk us through maybe one or two things that you do at the appointment that you think has really, really helped you to win these listings.
It's just show that you care about the person. At this point, you made them feel important by, doing the crumble cookie, by doing all these things. And if you talk to them like a normal human being, you're not trying to sell them on like you're not trying to sell them on anything, but just try to help the person as much as possible. Really understand why they're selling the home. Because if there's no emotion, there's really no sale, right?
That's
So
right.
I really try to just talk to the person, really understand where they're coming from. But okay, you need to do X, Y, Z. This is what we got to do. And then we know upfront agreement, I don't want to lie to you and all this type of stuff. I'm not the type of agent to do, put my sign in the front yard. I'm gonna tell you actually going to take to do this and come from a point of care, not a point of sell.
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome. Cool. And then I think the hardest part, everything we talked about is not easy, but I think the most difficult piece of this whole process of being a listing agent as a newer agent is getting these listings at the right price so that you can position them to actually sell. So when you're meeting with an expired listing, I'm sure it's not every time they just say, yeah, whatever price you say, Peyton, we'll take. I'm sure that there's a conversation around price that needs to be had so that you're actually not just listing property, but you're getting listings to be able to sell the properties. So, how are you handling the pricing conversation with sellers in this market right now that's more difficult, being an agent that's only been doing this for a year and a half or 2 years?
Yeah, so I just asked them like I'm like, can I ask you a really honest question? What is more important, the money or the move? I
Mm,
asked like what's more important from there, because if they say the money, then I did something wrong with my prospect, and this person had the motivation, because like you said, we're in a market where we just can't throw a home on the market, and it sells. I'm making sure I'm sitting down with people who are actually motivated. So when that conversation does come up, I go back. So how important is it to you for you to get to Florida?
mm,
If we price your home right here and I can tell you it's going to sell at this price, will this accomplish your goals?
good
And
for
that's
you.
like I circled a number where it's net and just like let them know like will this accomplish your goals? And if they say yes, ready to get to work, or like ready to put me to
Yeah,
work, and then just kind of go from there.
it's great. It's awesome, dude. That's amazing. Anything that you do different if you could go back and get licensed and start this whole thing over again?
Just join your program right away, get plugged in right away. Honestly, just be around the right people right away instead of like my first brokerage I joined, they're like social media this, social media that, and then all these shiny objects. It's just this is what works. This is how you make money in this business. It's not easy. It's not flashy. And I wish I just joined this program a lot sooner. Even though how much like salesy that sounds, it's genuine. I would join this program over and over again.